Greetings, YouTube. In 1987, Ken Anderson was a district attorney in Texas, and he helped to put one Michael Morton into prison in 1989 for murder, life sentence. Thankfully, it was just a life sentence. There's a small problem because you see, Michael Morton actually didn't kill anyone. So eventually, this actually came to light against all odds, and he was released in October of 2011 and fully exonerated by the court in December of 2011, which kind of surprised me that they exonerated him so quickly, frankly. I would have imagined that took a lot longer to do, but they did it in a fairly short order, which was, I guess, a good thing. And someone has finally gotten around to maybe looking at what Ken Anderson did. And the quote here is, "This court cannot think of a more intentionally harmful act than a prosecutor's conscious choice to hide mitigating evidence so as to create an uneven playing field for a defendant facing a murder charge and a life sentence." This is in Texas, too. It's a judge found Ken Anderson suspicious of this, so they're going to be charging him. Anderson is facing a charge of tampering with physical evidence, a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison, a charge of tampering with a government record, a misdemeanor that carries up to a 1-year sentence, and a show cause order for criminal contempt of court, punishable by up to $500 fine and up to 6 months in jail. He's also being sued by the State Bar of Texas for his conduct in the Morton case. He has not, and this is the part that gets me, he does not yet have to step down from his position as a district court judge. He's a judge. His term expires in 2014. So the way that this goes, this guy could be on the bench until 2014, until they finally getting around to actually legally prosecuting him for these charges. So you have a judge in Texas sitting on a bench that could very well be guilty of grievous misconduct that sent a man to prison for life, even though he didn't commit a crime. There's something wrong there in my book, because this is a really serious charge. Now, if this was a minor event, misdemeanors alone, or didn't involve sending someone to jail, just some kind of, legal misconduct that may have been low-level stuff, I could see leaving somebody on the bench. But he's charged with a felony for sending a guy to prison for life. He should be told to step down. The governor should say, "You, step down." There should be some kind of rule against this. Because what happens if he's found guilty of the charges that he's being prosecuted for? Don't you think that's going to open up the floodgates to have everything he decides as a judge between the moment he was charged and the moment he leaves questioned? That every single case could cause a lawsuit for misconduct or conflict of interest? Well, the old judge was guilty of a crime, but he was on the bench. I think that he didn't give my client a fair trial. I know if I was a lawyer, I'd try it. What the heck? What do you have to lose? You can be looking at huge amounts of lawsuits in the state of Texas over this guy sitting on the bench. I just think that leaving someone like this there during this kind of a process makes no sense. And then, of course, the other thing is that he may very well have put someone in prison, or helped put someone in prison, and created the environment where this guy went to prison by lying. Just making crap up, suppressing things, and helping to put someone away because we have an obsession in America with crime and punishment. Not with justice. No, not with justice. With crime and punishment. There's a difference between those two things, crime and punishment, and justice. Justice is blind. Justice is about making sure that the people that have done crimes are given a fair day in court and given a fair punishment. But we don't do that. We send people to prison for a pound of weed. We send people to prison in America for failing to pay debts, and yes, we do that. But is this guy going to go to prison? Is this guy for lying to the court and sending someone to prison for life, is he going to ever see any time inside of a jail? There's such an imbalance in America. There is so much that makes no sense that we need to fix, and that we don't, because people love that whole crime and punishment thing, and they don't support the cause of justice. So I hope Ken Anderson is finally found guilty of this. If he's done this crime, and it looks like he has, he deserves to be sent to prison. I'm not going to say how long he should go to prison. Making those kind of judgment calls is hard. I freely admit that. Our gut instincts to say, well, send him to prison for the same amount of time he sent Morton. There could be a certain kind of balance there, I guess. But should that be the sentence? I'm not sure. I'd have to weigh it against everything else, and I'm not a lawyer. So, tell me, what do you think? Should we hold the people in the justice system to a higher standard? I'm of the opinion we should. If you're going to be involved in the process of sending other people to prison, you should be held to a higher standard than your average citizen. As I think we should be holding police officers to a higher standard, because they are on the front line of enforcing the laws and arresting criminals. I heard something recently, someone was talking about a case where they had caught someone who had kidnapped and was holding a woman imprisoned. They were a morally reprehensible individual that had kidnapped someone and just decided to keep them. And what tipped off a cop led to the investigation. And the cop said, at the time, I couldn't just arrest the guy. I couldn't grab the guy because there wasn't enough evidence, and my hands were tied. And I want those cops' hands tied. I want everyone in the judicial system's hands tied. I want them to make sure that every step of the way that they're not doing something on gut feeling, but they're doing something because they have evidence, because they have true probable cause to go forward. Not just because some inkling in their head says, I think this guy's guilty. No. You get the evidence and you prove that this guy's guilty. And I'm okay with that. And I don't want the courts lying like this. I don't want the courts doing things that make our justice system a laughingstock in the world. So, let's see where it goes. Let's see if Mr. Anderson gets his day in court. Let's see if Mr. Anderson actually gets to experience the justice system on a first-hand position on the other end of the table. But I want it to be justice. I don't want crime and punishment. I want the rule of justice to be blind. To make sure that we all get the same day in court, regardless of who we are.